Hi, I'm Joe Jimenez, and welcome to Citizen of the World. I've got a great episode for you today. I've got the Jack Daniel's Coy Hill at 141.9 proof. That crosses that magical threshold of hazmat material at 140. That is 61.9 proof points above our Jack Daniel's Old No.7, the classic Jack, as in Jack and Coke, which is really how a lot of us first come to get to know the Jack Daniel's brand, usually through that ubiquitous cocktail, Jack and Coke. I had my first ones in Spain in the clubs in the late 80s. Got to try the product when it was still a 90 proof product. It then switched to 86 proof after 1987. And in 2002, Jack Daniel's actually made it an 80 proofer, which is basically the legal limit for any whiskey. The Jack Daniel's Old No.7 is the American whiskey that is most sold globally. So they are the #1 selling American whiskey globally. Jack Daniel's makes more Old No.7 and sells it globally than any other American brand by quite a bit. And I guess when you make a product that is that well received, let's say, that much of a mass appeal to different folks across different geographies, across different cultures, obviously you're appealing to a lot of folks. So you're making a product that is good, but also unoffensive and mixes well with pretty much anything. It does have its own natural sweetness. And I think one of the things that has done is that has given folks the impression that Jack Daniel's as a brand doesn't offer a real premium product, that they have these commodities. And I think Jack Daniel's recognized that. And therefore they put out these special releases such as the Coy Hill. We'll talk about some of their other heritage ryes, their double barreled ryes, and some of the other limited releases that they've done. But the Coy Hill essentially became this legendary standard bottle that was released in 2021 first. And then they also did another smaller release of these 375 bottles that were actually batched. They were small batches. The 2021 products are actually single barrels. This one is from Rickhouse 8 on Coy Hill, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So Jack Daniel's, one of the things that they've done is they've taken, over the past few years, they've taken that mash bill, that 80% corn, 12% rye, 8% malted barley, that they then pass through those 10 feet of the maple wood charcoal. That's the new make, and then they stick it into the barrels. Well, if you take that product and you put it in their various warehouses on the property, and after about 4 years, you blend them together or batch them together, you can make, and you dilute it obviously, you can get to make this product, Old No.7. Now if you take those same barrels though, and you bring them over to Coy Hill, which is the highest elevation on the Jack Daniel's campus, and you stick it in either warehouse 8 or 13, and you put it in the highest ricks within those two warehouses, then the buzzards roost, and you leave them there for 9 years, in this case 9 years, 1 month and 2 weeks, you're going to learn that the heat up there at this property, the way the air moves also, the angels are going to take more than what we would say is their fair share of those barrels. Now, what they leave behind though is the stuff of legend, and that's the famous Coy Hill. It's essentially this concentrate or a reduction in whiskey, this magical elixir of art and science that ends up being the Coy Hill. Again, single barrels. This one, as I said, small batch at 4 years. This one, single barrel, left alone for 9 years. You can see the colors. I mean, up against my shirt, you can see how less dark this one is compared to this one. This also has a reddish hue to it, which is also helped by the reddish labels. But Jack Daniel's, what they've also done is they've said, okay, what if we take that product and we leave it at 100 proof, and that's your bottled in bond Jack Daniel's, which they've also recently released. If you take that same product and you leave it for 10 years and make a batch of that and dilute it down to 87 proof, you get the 10-year product. If you do the same thing, leave it for another 2 years and leave it at 97 proof, you end up with a 12-year. Or you can do their small batch selects that they also have out, which are, I believe they're at 47%, so that's 94 proof. and they also have their barrel strength, barrel selects of the Jack Daniels. My point is, Jack Daniels has been trying to showcase how good this product can be at its various proof points, and depending upon which target niche of market they want to try and hit, in addition to all their other experimentation they've been doing with their sour mash as well as their rye. So it's actually pretty fascinating what they've been doing. For myself, I got into whiskey, as I mentioned to you, in 2017, the end of 2017, with the Whistle Pig 15. Thought I knew rye, turns out I didn't. In 2020, got to try Irish. Same concept. Thought I understood Irish whiskey, turns out I didn't, and I loved it as well. So in 2022, I got to try Japanese whiskeys. So the Japanese whiskeys taught me about single malts, which made me realize that I actually like whiskey. That I like it much more than I thought, which made me pay more attention to American bourbons, which other than, as I mentioned, you know, my experience with Jack and Coke, I really had never really explored, didn't really understand, started watching Whiskey Tube. And on Whiskey Tube, one of the things I learned, this is at the back end of 2022, 2023, is folks kept comparing their whiskey of the year to the Coy Hill Jack Daniels from a couple of years earlier. And every review that I saw praised this product. I mean, this was in pretty much everyone's top 5 at a minimum, if not number 1. And it's one of these legendary products. Every review that I read also praised this product. I really wanted to try it. And as I mentioned, I came into the whiskey game a little bit late. This product had already been released and consumed. So I think it was 27,000 bottles. And, you know, after they did their little small batches, as I mentioned, the 375s, they haven't done it again. Although there is a rumor going around that in 2024, Jack Daniels will release some type of Coy Hill again. Now, what I read indicates that it might be at various different proofs. Again, most folks are going to want the Hazmat. It has built its name as a legendary Hazmat product. I tried to try this at different bars. I couldn't find it in a bar. And the bars where I could find it and it was on the menu was sold out. So I never got to try to taste it. And I didn't know anyone who had it. So I happened to be at one of these little liquor stores somewhere here in Broward County and saw the bottle on the shelf. And yes, I did pay secondary prices for it. So as a new bourbon tater, and I'll cop to the bourbon tater because I think when it comes to bourbon, I am trying to understand all these different parts of the whiskey world. I won't cop to that for some of my other tastes, as you can see behind me, but certainly for the bourbon. I wanted to try it and to see what it's all about. And again, what is this channel about, Citizen of the World? Well, Citizen of the World is about getting out there and trying something new, something you haven't had before. As I mentioned, you know, I've had the chance to travel the world and try different things in different cities. One of the most fascinating things is it doesn't matter which bar you go to anywhere in the world, you're going to find Old No.7. And that's something that's pretty amazing. And if you can take that and make a concentrated version of it, this is going to be out of this world. So again, wanting to know what this tastes like because life is short. Here's my memento mori, right? Life is short. I went out and grabbed a taste of it. I've got a bunch of friends who I'm going to share this with so that every one of us can get a chance to try what this is. So you're going to be here with me. We're going to start with the Old No.7 so that I use that as my palate primer, and we're going to open this Coy Hill together. So here we are. Let's go right at it and get this thing open. Let's find out how we can peel this this little neck ring off. Pop the cork. Give it a moment of air. And we're going to try and see what are the similarities between the Old No.7 and the Coy Hill. Simple little sound. I've heard these corks are special because they do fall apart. Wow, that is a caramelly, let's say, chocolate nose. I'm just going to pour a very small amount because you obviously don't need much of this. I might have overdone it. For those of you who are curious on the neck ring, this one went into the barrel on August 2nd of 2012, and it came out, it was dumped on the 24th of September in 2021, and it is, let's see, barrel number 2108243. Okay, for those of you who are wondering, it is a 2021 special release from Warehouse H at 141.9 proof. Now our Old No.7, we're just going to dump over here, and I'll try and do a similar amount. Well, I mean, I think the difference between the two is incredibly apparent. Look at those two color differences. So you can probably see that right here up against my shirt. This one's much redder, and this one's much lighter. On both of them, you get that banana nose. I mean, it goes without saying, right? And it's probably related to the yeast that they use, because when I've tried their ryes also come in with that same banana note. So what's common between them? Well, their processing is probably also very similar. Noses are very different. This is gorgeous, obviously. I mean, it's hard to fault that one. But let's start with our No.7 so we don't blow out the nostrils. Oh, by the way, I don't get a blast of ethanol, given how high the proof is here. On the nose, you don't get that blast of ethanol. You don't feel it in the nose hairs. No.7, classic notes. I mean, classic notes. There's even an herbalness in here, and I don't think it's just because I know there's a 12% rye, but I think part of the appeal, the balance that Jack Daniel's has, is that that rye note. It's what makes it interesting, right? Instead of just a sweet corn syrupy elixir. For a 4-year product, does it taste? Does it smell shiny as Daniel from Whiskey Vault might say? Yeah, it does smell a little shiny. It is on the younger side, but it's lovely. It's got all your classic bourbon notes of the caramel, vanilla, everything any noob is going to tell you about a bourbon that's got those givens. I get something approaching a musty creme brulee, and it's probably the touch of rye that's on here. But anyway, let's do that first sip to prime the palate. It's it's Jack Daniel's Old No.7. It's thin. It's on the drying side. You can see how quickly it sheets down off the glass. Very unoffensive whiskey. Actually, what I'm finding, and maybe it's my palate today, it's surprisingly drying. A little bit of I want to call it a little bit of the oak presence in the center of the tongue. It's just like a little tingle in the middle of the tongue. No rye bite or anything like that, even though it has 12% rye. It's a very simple whiskey. I mean, what's actually making me crave is it's making me crave some Coca-Cola. I mean, I guess that's the real thing. So now, if I put this up against the Coy Hill, well, okay, number one, I mean, look at how they swirl. I mean, this one is much more viscous. The body on this one is far superior. It's got a gorgeous color. Yeah, there's a caramel note here, of course, but I have to say it's coated in some type of like a leathery chocolate, if you want to call it a leathery chocolate. It makes me think of an old baseball glove. Yeah, it's actually beautiful. It kind of reminds me actually of some of my more aged ryes. And that's probably because of the oak presence. That's probably what I'm picking up, that oak presence. Again, it's not blowing out the nose. I get there's that a hint of cherry. So beyond the banana, there's a hint of cherry in here too. It's a lovely nose. Again, neck pour, right? So I don't think I'm going to be complaining about it though. So cheers to you. I was expecting to be blown out by the proof. I don't get that. I mean, I can feel it going down. And right in the center of the tongue, you get that backbone of the oak. It is soft on the palate. It's a very clean drinking bourbon. Any of the other notes that I think you would pick out, I'm not getting that leather that I got on the nose and whatnot, but again, it is the first sip, so let me just go back to a second. Okay, so there's the leathery cherry. So there's a leathery cherry on the sides of the tongue. A brace of oak right down the center. I can feel the burn in the back of the tongue. I don't want to say burn. You can feel the proof on the swallow. I'm aware of it going down the esophagus, but other than that, the alcohol does not come across as 141.9. It doesn't come across as that potent. I find it more drying than I expected. It doesn't seem to be coating the tongue as thickly as I thought it would. Perhaps it needs a little bit of air. All the other notes are there. It's actually becoming more and more leather forward, and I'm guessing that's the age of it. Again, this is a barreled product, so in other words, you get sorry, it's a single barrel, so this is going to be representative of this particular barrel. Okay, third sip is starting to reveal more complexity on my tongue. It's probably my mouth becoming acclimated to it. I'm getting all that warmth in it now. It is a dry cocoa, like a cocoa powder. It's not chocolate. It's more of a cocoa powder. It is more of, let's say, cherry skins as opposed to the cherry itself as a cherry cordial. I get a ton of oak on this one, straight through the middle of the palate. A lot more oak presence, I guess, than I would have expected. I'm feeling the alcohol burn through the chest and the stomach. Obviously, it is a potent sip. I get an herbalness to it as well. To me, there's an herbal mustiness to it that I really like. Reminds me of more of my favorite ryes. I want to say this one comes across as more rye forward than I expected. Let's go back to the Old No.7 for a moment just to do a quick comparison. Okay, this one smells like a banana split now. So the banana note on this, covered in vanilla notes. This one smells just like a banana split with a little bit of chocolate sauce on the sides. This almost smells like dessert. It goes down like water after being compared to this one. There's almost so you can understand that they're from the same house. Okay, that comes across very clearly. They don't seem like two completely different products. This comes across as a more oaky aged version of this, less banana on this nose. I get much more leather on this nose. I don't get. I was expecting to get hammered by this particular proof. Now, the closest I've had to this type of proof are some of the Stag Juniors, or baby stags, whatever you want to call them, and some of my Balcones single malts. There is something about this that reminds me of malted whiskeys, so more malted whiskey than bourbon, and I doubt it's at 8% rye. It's actually pretty fascinating. Now mixed with a little bit of saliva from my mouth. And again, Fred Minnick would say, don't swish it in the mouth. It teases out some of those other components. So there's a drying rye element beyond the brace of oak through the center of the tongue. I get a drying pepper on the sides of the tongue. The alcohol is present from the, let's say, on the finish. Is a really long finish, a long, let's say, medium dry. I keep talking about this being a drying whiskey, but it's actually more of a contemplative pour than I expected. I thought this would be more of a type of dessert pour, but this is the type of pour that you would have when you're trying to tease out flavors. So versus the Old No.7, you can see what age does on the product, and I'd like to try other Coy Hills to see what other options there are out there for or how the different barrels play out, and compare it to my my banana split whiskey. What we're going to do over the next few episodes is we'll start to go through some of my Jack Daniel's collection, and we'll look at it again. We'll take each of them up against Old No.7 to do that comparison. This is obviously the easiest bottle to get. One of the most ubiquitous whiskeys you can find pretty much in any liquor store. No matter where you go in this country, you'll find it. This one, again, not so much. Amazing whiskey. And I would say that it is, I'm feeling the alcohol within my body more than I actually expected, even for such a small pour. It has a tremendous amount of alcohol, so you can feel it right away. It is more drying than I expected. Again, not as coating on the tongue as I would have expected, but surprisingly oaked, much more than I would have anticipated. And maybe that's just an error on my part. I should have anticipated that a 9-year product that had been concentrated so within the barrel would end up like this. One of the other comparisons that we'll do one of these days also is we'll put it up against my Cowboy Bourbon. So I've got the Garrison Brothers Cowboy Bourbon. I want to try that as well. I believe that's 140.9. So it's a 1 proof point, 0.5% of alcohol off. And we'll get to do a little comparison between, let's call it a Tennessee whiskey versus Texas whiskey. Should be really interesting. So again, welcome to Citizen of the World. Thank you for joining me on this experience and trying the legendary Coy Hill. Get out there and try something new.